Hello, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Director's Cut, brought to you by the Directors Guild of America, featuring today's top directors sharing behind-the-scenes stories of their latest films and insights into the craft of directing. Please take a second to subscribe to our show wherever you get your podcasts. This episode takes us behind the scenes of director Gail Mancuso's new family drama, A Dog's Journey. In the sequel to Lasse Hallström's 2017 feature, A Dog's Purpose, the film brings back the continually reincarnated dog and follows his adventures through multiple lives filled with love, friendship, and devotion to his human family. A Dog's Journey is Ms. Mancuso's feature film directorial debut. Her television credits include the movies for television So Close, Nice Girls Don't Get the Corner Office, and The IT Crowd, the pilot for the series Your Family or Mine, and episodes of the series Roseanne, Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23, Rules of Engagement, Cougar Town, 30 Rock, Gilmore Girls, Dharma and Greg, Friends, Ellen, and The Nanny. She is a 3-time DGA Comedy Series Award nominee for episodes of Modern Family. Following a recent screening of the film at the Harmony Gold Theater in Los Angeles, Ms. Mancuso spoke with director Anne Fletcher about filming A Dog's Journey. During their conversation, Ms. Mancuso discusses the long pre-production of the film, the decision to shoot anamorphically and the issues she had to consider, and why she felt all her department heads had to have a connection with dogs.
Hi, you guys. So just to clarify, I'm Anne, and this is Gail, the director of the movie. Yeah! Who needs a good, what the heck? Who needs a good half an hour more to sort of let the movie settle? I went and saw, this is just the only thing I'll say about myself. I went, because I can talk about me. I saw this movie, and after the movie ran some errands and literally never stopped crying for a solid 2 hours, but not just a cry, a gut-wrenching sob. I love animals. Gail, you did such an amazing job with this movie, telling the story from the point of view of a dog. Who would have thought? And I know this is a sequel, right?
It is sequel to A Dog's Purpose.
A Dog's Purpose. So we love the movie. Okay, great. Sorry. I just got stuck a little bit because I got stuck with the animals in my head. Sorry. So, so Gail, as we all know, is an amazing comedy TV director, one of our most successful and amazingly talented. I'm a huge fan. Anytime I watch her work on TV, I don't even need to see her name. I just can watch her work and know exactly it's her because she stands out amongst, you just stand out above everybody else, in my opinion. But anyway, so how did you come to this movie in the first place?
First of all, thank you so much for moderating this. I'm so honored that you're the one. I love you. And all your movies that you've done.
The microphone.
Yes, I'm not used to this, obviously. This one. Okay, so I had been with Amblin working on a different project, developing a different, like a comedy project. And we were sort of like in the process of rewriting that and redeveloping it. And then this came across my way from one of the executives and said, you know what, this movie's coming up sooner than the comedy is, and why don't you take a look and see if you like it and read it. And then I knew the producer Gavin Pallone. He had called me, and I knew him from Gilmore Girls. And and he knows I'm an animal lover. I have 5 dogs. So I read the script like immediately and emailed Holly Barrio from Amblin immediately and just said, I love it. And I had not even seen A Dog's Purpose prior to this, but there was something about the story, about the, following CJ and just all the dogs. Obviously, I just felt it was my calling to do this movie. So
being an animal lover and you love kids.
And a young female.
Did you have a lot to do with the script moving forward? Like once you got the draft, did you have a lot to do with the shape of it that it took?
Yes. Yeah. That part, that was the great part, is that we knew there was work to be done, and there were already like 3 or 4 drafts in, and So I was able to, really mold it to be more of what I wanted. It takes place in Chicago. I mean, I'm from Chicago. They always say, director, write what you know. And so,
well, I was excited it was in Michigan. I was like,
yeah,
oh,
right?
The farm's in Michigan.
Well, we were. That was actually that was from the first film, because the farm was actually in Michigan. So, but then I wanted her to go to Chicago, and then finally to New York, and then the singer-songwriter thing. That was my thing. I was a guitar player, and I just thought that I wanted this music to be filled with movie to be filled with music.
The thing I love about the music in this movie is you don't even notice that it's there, which to me is the greatest compliment to you and the composer, because it is literally elevating the story and the emotion, and you don't even know that you're being swept up into it. That's kind of jumping way past, but did you sit with a lot of composers, and what were you looking for to contribute to the film?
Basically anybody that I hired had to have some sort of personal story about animals. With the exception of one, which was my editor.
Oh, are you
Who
here?
happens to be here.
Nice job.
That's Rob Komatsu and Matt Crawford, who did an amazing job.
Yay!
Fantastic. But Mark Isham, I met with a few composers, and Mark Isham told me the story about his dog, and that how his dog is basically like one of the dogs in the movies. Like, his dog has the behaviors of his 3 past dogs. Like, his dog will go and sit in the same place as, his second dog used to sit in, and then he plays with the same toys or whatever, just the behaviors. And I was like, wow, he really got the movie. And that was important to me.
It is important. It is fascinating too, even if you aren't looking for that person who has a special connection to it. As you've hired and you're going along, you start hearing that everyone has some strange, bizarre connection to it, and you just know that you're in the right place with your crew. Did you bring anybody on in the world of television onto this film, or was it a whole new crew for you, and how was that, hiring these people?
It was a whole new crew. Well, we were, because it was a sequel, and we had to go back to Winnipeg. So we had to shoot in Winnipeg. Oh, wow. And that's where all the farm footage is, and as well as a lot of the stand-in for New York and Chicago. So we had to hire a local crew there. And I think there was only a few local people, few LA people. But yeah.
Wow. Well, it looked amazing, by the way, because I did think that we were in those places. Really? Truly. It was
well, we did New York for one day.
Oh, I love that. That's my favorite trick.
Thank you.
I've done that before too.
Once you see it, you believe it.
You can. That's the movie magic we love. One of the things that I did want to bring up when we sort of spoke about is, first of all, how did you come upon your DP, and how was it working with them?
Well, same thing. Did a lot of FaceTiming because they're all over the world, all over. I've FaceTimed with. Same thing with Henry Lau, our the guy who plays Trent. Did a lot of FaceTiming in China for different actors. But yeah, so Rohir Stouffer was our DP, who was wonderful, and we FaceTimed from Austin, and I watched some of the work that he's done. He did The House with the Clock on Its Walls most recently. Loved that, and he loves the wanted to shoot this anamorphically, which I did too, which was great. And he just had a beautiful, sense of the story visually. Yep. And also he has a pet pig and a couple of dogs, and he lives on a farm. And he's vegan. And I'm like, okay. Because as when you're doing a movie, you're with that person, you're with the crew as your family for such a long time, and you want to be able to share, common interests.
Yeah, you're sitting there working for the common goal, which is the film, but you also you always hope that you get along as well.
Right.
That is the little cherry on the top.
Yeah.
Speaking about anamorphic, first of all, how did you guys decide on that? Which, by the way, I love, because it's just the scope is so beautiful in the film and the shots are stunning. But compared to television, was that different? Was it difficult? Was it interesting? What was your experience from the two mediums?
Well, I mean, obviously the end product is gorgeous, and that's what we wanted. The feeling of the farm specifically, we talked about it being warm and familiar, and an homage to the first movie. So that was a no-brainer. And then in terms of the city shots, Chicago, New York, we wanted that to be a little cooler feeling. So we talked at length about that, but we were a little worried about shooting anamorphically with animals, especially when they're running. And we weren't quite sure, especially little Max, like, how are we going to get this? He's so fast. How are we going to keep him in focus? And the thing about, as you guys know, anamorphic, I mean, you're very limited in terms of movement of the camera and the lens. And if there's a lot of movement, like they can, cut out of the shot. And we had a lot of more focus issues than we were hoping for, but they got cleared up pretty soon. So, but that was a challenge, definitely a challenge in many ways.
Well, it's also different. I mean, as you guys know, television you've got more frame to film to fill out at all times, especially with an animal running all over the place. Speaking of which, I mean, they say. And your first one was like, don't work with animals or children. And your first one had animals and children.
Right.
Not only animals, a ton of animals, which, by the way, loved the kids. The kids were so special and amazing. And I would love to talk about that regarding cast. But how was it working? Did you have an amazing trainer?
Yeah. I mean, our trainer was Bonnie Judd. And she, everything that she does is with positive reinforcement with the dogs. And what's really cool about it, really, I had nothing to do with the animals. I mean, we would talk, we went through the whole script and said, these are the tricks that are scripted. What in reality can this particular animal do? And if she thought that there was something that the dog couldn't do, she'd say it. And I said, okay, well, give me an alternative. And so, like, even that, like, poster, the shot of Molly getting the poster off the wall. I mean, that was something that I think they had suggested. And then we did the pulling, so we just kind of talked through everything. And so they would work, through the weekends and stuff with the dogs. And basically they would just show up on set and the dogs, just are geared to the trainers. They just look at the trainers, and I'm mostly dealing with the actors, and I get to pet the dogs after the scene when they did a good job.
A little animal therapy in between takes. That's fascinating because, as we know, I mean, you've had, for each dog, how many doubles did you have?
Really not a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing. Well, for Molly, we only had 2. Molly was the red beagalier.
Yes.
And
we know.
Floppy ears. And so there was only 2. There was Lulu and Lemmy, and Lulu was a female, and Lemmy was the male. And it turned out, and Molly, the character, is a female, obviously. And so it turns out, once you know that Lemmy, the boy, was the better actor. So what we didn't take into account at the time was the amount of visual effects that we needed to boost, taking out the male part of the dog, which was in many shots.
Not in the
Matt?
budget. Not in the budget.
Yeah.
Did you have other visual effects, Dan? I love that story, by the way, because those are like the little secrets you don't know that goes into it all. You just think it's all going to work, and you're like, oh, yeah, right, there's that. Did you have other visual effects, like the ending of the movie with those beautiful, I don't know, I'm going to call them clouds, but I guess they were.
Those are all real.
No. Look, I'm a sucker. I love it all. Really, Gail? So talk to me about the visual effects, because really, besides that, and maybe they are real, maybe that's something you guys created. I would love to know more about it.
Well, I think it goes back to one of your earlier questions about hiring people and the what we call the journey transitions, and that's when the dog passes away and runs up this hill and then becomes a puppy again. That like culminates to the very end. What happens at the end? I think it took a lot of faith on behalf of our visual effects team, as well as our editors, of course, looking right at you guys, and Universal and Amblin is like, because I had this idea of, I'm a hiker, so my idea of a dog being happy is being on a trail, running, and so I wanted to make that, take kind of the illness off of the dog passing away to it being like a happy feeling of the dog running and running. And then obviously it's the metaphor of the dog being raised up, and it's going up higher and higher and higher until at the very end it all comes together up this mountain, which ultimately becomes the Rainbow Bridge, which, that was another big question. Are we going to keep the Rainbow Bridge in or out? Because, a lot of people don't know what it is, and is it something that's going to test well? Well, we only had one test audience, and we tested through the roof the whole movie. So yeah, and when they started talking about the Rainbow Bridge, I remember Holly Barrio from Amblin looked over at me and she says, "The Rainbow Bridge stays." And so yeah,
if the audience is loving it, it's staying. But that actually, those visuals of the dog, each puppy, it was it was beautiful because you're in such an emotional state of mind, gut-wrenching emotional, and for some reason that moment, even though you're sobbing, pulls you out and makes you feel joy, right, in a very strange way. I mean, I don't mean to say strange, I just lack of a word, because it's emotion, and emotion is so raw, and then that moment you're getting a bizarre sense of happiness, even though you're devastated.
Well, I mean, that's the whole idea. It's a sense of hopefulness, I hope. It's like, it's that this is not the end, that this is just, life goes on.
Yeah, I think that, well, then you nailed. That is exactly right. It gives you a little hope. Yes. And if you believe in reincarnation, which I do, and now I would do more than ever, because I don't want anybody just to be gone, please. This movie is fantastic with that. God, I had a question and it just flew out of my head. Shoot. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm terrible. Do you guys have any questions at all for her? Yes, my love. That's a great question, yeah.
To be honest with you, it was seamless. I've done so much work in TV that, when you're working TV episodics, I mean, and if you're fortunate enough, like I've been very fortunate to have been able to do a lot of work, and you're practicing your craft, on a weekly basis. I mean, you're talking to actors daily, you're talking to writers daily, you're figuring out the script, you're figuring out jokes, what works, what doesn't work, you're figuring out blocking. You're doing the whole thing, but on a daily basis. So, when you do a feature, obviously it takes there's a big chunk of time of pre-production, and then there's maybe 40 days, 42 days of shooting, and then you're in this big chunk of time of post-production. So there's only like 42 days where you're actually working with actors. So for me, being able to practice the craft in television just helped me so much in the when I actually came time to figure out this movie.
It does I think that's a great question, one that was in my brain, so thank you. Yeah. Because I too want to know, because I went from film, I've done a little bit of TV, nowhere even remotely, never will be what you do. But it's the same, but it's different. One is pretty quick. Mm-hmm. You're in and you're out, your limited amount of time, and then you can move on. The film, I don't want to speak for you, but for filmmakers, you're in it you shot for 42 days, mm-hmm. and her movie was in the theaters. All I can say is like, hallelujah. I'm so happy for you, honestly, because everything's changing so much. So that is beautiful, and I couldn't be happier. So you have 42 days to shoot. You have a long prep, I'm assuming, because you've got so much to prepare for, right? Yeah. And then the post process with you guys, composition, editing, the visual effects, it's just a longer experience. So for you, I know that you were prepared. I don't question. Do you like the idea that you have all of this time to build something that is 100% yours? and versus television, which is definitely yours, no question, but it's part of a bigger system.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm curious to know if you have any feelings on that or not.
Yeah, and I think that therein lies the difference. Is that television is definitely a writer's medium, and unless if you're a writer, showrunner / director, but being obviously a director in a feature, it is the director's medium. So it was amazing, and I don't know how it is for you, Anne, but like once the dailies were coming in and everything was going fairly well, and then the first cuts, and then when the studio saw it, once they really see it and get it, because I'm a first time director, it got easy. Like the asks got easier. Can I have this song? Okay, can you have this? I mean, it's like it just kind of made it like what could have been a very difficult situation. What I'm actually talking about is like the budget, is a certain amount of money, but like they were, obviously, if there was something, if I had an idea that I thought would make the movie a little bit better, they were on board for it, which was truly amazing for a first.
Well, I would like to take it a step further. That's because they believed in the movie, and that's why they gave her the money. They love the movie. She did such an amazing job with it. That's why the studio says, okay, we'll give you a little bit more money, because they absolutely believed in it, and that's all a tribute to you and your team. Speaking of, you had one preview, which is amazing. And did you have a whole bunch of friends and family? Did you know to do that? I'm not even sure.
Yeah, sure. Amblin has a really nice screening room with free popcorn. So that was great for friends and family. We did I think 2, right? Yeah, two friends and family screenings, and it was right around the holiday time. So, but they were obviously, as you know, they're just so valuable. Because I got some great notes by some of my fellow directors that are here tonight.
I mean, lucky that you got to allow them, because usually the studios won't let any filmmakers into the room.
They gave different names, but
okay. Did you have a question? I'm sorry. Yeah.
Right. Well, I was really that is part of the goal, is that the teachable moments, for kids. I mean, this is a PG rated movie, and I know has its sad parts, but I was hoping that we can get off the sad parts and get to the happy parts pretty soon. But what we had heard in our only test audience was that one of the dads said this is a great movie for teachable moments, where you can sit and talk to your kids about, if you're going to lose a pet, or you can discuss the dangers of drinking too much, or you can, there's a lot of relatable things in the movie that I think hopefully spoke to. Thank you.
Yeah, and I know that this was, as Gail said, is very important for her, and we were hoping that the kids would stay so that we could ask them some questions as well. But not only to that point, I feel like the respect of animals is so heavy in the film, like just the way the humans interact with them, how they say goodbye, how they say hello, how they even just walk them. I mean, your lead girl, CJ, is walking her down the street, any of the animals, and it's such a natural thing. And I think there's, the world is, everyone should have an animal on some level. I shouldn't say that. There's no judgment if you don't. But it says everything about you if you don't.
Yes.
What? She's so judgmental. But that's one of the things that I loved about it. But not only that, and it brings me back to my question about the script, and because it felt very, I don't know you. I've never met Gail until now. I've just been a fan from the outside. That I could feel, because the mom, Gloria, was struggling so much, and you really, I don't like to use the word hate, because I don't hate anything. There's a lot to hate in this world right now, but I just can't use that word. But I had problems with her because I wanted her to be a mom. I'm a woman, so I wanted her to do that. Step up, figure it out, stop pushing people away. But I felt that might have had a lot to do with you, is creating a complicated woman who's struggling with something very real, which we do, and in her life, and that for her to make amends and to come back to CJ was beautiful. I thought it was beautifully well done. I thought the girl was amazing. I thought the performances were really, really good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Did you, because there was the first movie, did you have how many people did you have to cast in this? I didn't see the first one. I said that, didn't I? Yeah.
You know, it was really Dennis is the only one that's the carryover.
First, right.
Yeah, and then Josh Gad
Right.
voices Bailey. And that's, so
But
everybody's-
you've worked with Josh before, right?
Yeah, very good. Yes.
Yeah.
1600 pen.
That's
Yes,
right. I loved
yes.
that show.
Yeah, it's
it
a
was
great
so
show.
sad
Yeah,
it was
I know,
gone.
I know.
Too
And
smart.
He's amazing, and you know we've built this great friendship, and you know we email each other all the time. He's great. He's just
That's also a great thing too. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's a great thing too that, well, you have a great relationship with him, which does help because he is the voice of the point of view of the whole movie, you could change whatever he says throughout.
Well, that was key. And just really quick, when I got the script close enough, I did send it to him, and I said, "Look, what can we do to how do you think Bailey has changed, and has he matured? Is there some sort of how do we make him just slightly different or more thoughtful, mindful, or whatever?" And so he brought a lot of differences to his performance, I think, too. And he did us a great favor, and he recorded the whole script before we even started shooting. You know, and they weren't able to do that in the last movie, so it was really helpful. And then we re-recorded it.
Well, that's important for you guys while you're cutting without her, while she's on set, to be able to have that material to put in and see if it works and all that, and then be able to fluctuate and see what's funny. And your sense of humor, even though it's so heavily dramatic and delightful, by the way, a combination of it, your humor shines through. I mean, the laughs were laughs, and I saw it recently, and the audience is there with them from the word go. They're laughing while they're crying, and you can hear it the whole ride.
Great.
I loved it. So in this whole new thing moving forward, what was the greatest, I don't want to say achievement because it's an achievement to even make a movie, do anything that we do in this business, but what was your most rewarding? What was something that you walked away and went, wow, I'm proud of that, or I'm really happy I learned that?
I think, honestly, it's the whole thing. I think looking back on it, there's not one frame I would change in the movie. And I can't say that about television, any of my television episodic work. And I just feel like I'm just super proud of the movie. I hope more people see it. But for me, I don't even care. Like it's a movie that I'm, you know, I never thought I'd be so proud of a movie. And, you know, I had a great team to help me. And
well, that's the apple tree effect, because your crew you picked.
Yeah.
So they reflect you on some level, and there's an admiration and a respect that go hand in hand to create this beautiful product. Did somebody say something back there? Do I have to come out there? I will come out there.
Help you. I used to play hockey, so
Let's do it. I'm from Detroit. I don't mess around. Does anybody else have any questions for Gail? Yes, ma'am.
No. Not really, no. Yeah, I mean, it's like I had this dream vision of like, okay, we're going to, you know, move the camera here. We're going to like pan from this person to this person, then the dog will get up and walk over here. No, we don't do that. The dog's not going to get up when the camera comes to him. So I quickly changed course on that. Yeah, like I said, I worked really, really close with the trainers, and every weekend we would get together, and this is what's expected, this is what they can do, this is how I plan on shooting this, and the animals were always happy, the set was always happy. I mean, it was really, it was amazing. Yeah, she was amazing, really great.
Was she a local to LA,
She's local
or was she
to Canada?
Winnipeg?
Yeah.
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 Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I've had to hire animal trainers in other states, and I'm like, okay, so they lay there. Got it. So all I have to do is shoot the lane dog who is supposed to attack somebody. It's okay, I got it. Don't worry about it. But you do have to think on your feet with animals.
Yeah.
You have to think quickly, because God only knows.
Yeah, I mean, our first really our first thought is just the safety of the animal and making sure that the animal is happy. And, you know, we're doing a dog movie. We want the dogs to be happy. Exactly. And I have 5 dogs. So again, did I mention that?
And moving forward, what is there? I know we never know. We never know what we want to do next until it comes on our desk and you go, oh my gosh, I'm responding to this. But in your fantasy, what would be the next project that would excite you?
You know, it's so interesting because I've thought about it over and over again because I kept thinking, you know, my first one should be a comedy. Okay, so now I didn't do a comedy, so maybe it'll be a comedy. But like you said, I think it's interesting. I think it could be anything. And I think, like you said, like whatever happens, whatever speaks to me.
That's the bizarre thing is like you think you can navigate, but you don't know what's out there until it comes across your desk and then you go, there's some one sentence of an entire script that you went, oh, I know what this is. I know what this movie is. And we never know. And we were talking earlier that, you know, maybe some people will question like, wow, she's the comedy girl, what you explained. I live a comedy girl. I will always be a girl. I'm never going to be a woman. It's not happening. So I take everyone down with me. But you'd think going into comedy, but I was saying to her backstage, I feel like really brilliant comic directors and even actors know how to turn it on its head and have enormous empathy, like a place in them, empathetic wise, to touch into the dramatic in such a beautiful and brilliant way, while also, because it's human, and they're touching into the comedy of what, you know, just normal people are. And I think that's what Gail has done so beautifully, that through your tears, you actually have a moment of laughter and you can't believe that you're laughing while you've got streams of mascara down your face. Don't you think, fellas? You got the mascara problems? Anyway, any other last questions? I think we have to wrap it up, but I've had a great time. This woman's so amazingly talented. I'm so grateful for her work in television. I'm so impressed with your work in film, and I hope it just keeps on going. Well, I don't hope. I know it will, but I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, thank you, Anne. You're amazing.
Yay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, you guys, for staying and coming.
Thanks for listening to another DGA Q&A. If you'd like to hear more, you can find past episodes of The Director's Cut wherever you listen to podcasts. Be sure to subscribe, and please take a moment to rate and review us. We'd love to hear your feedback, and you can help fellow cinephiles find the show. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time. This podcast is produced by the Directors Guild of America. Music is by Dan Wally.